One of the biggest challenges when you make a move abroad is feeling alone, the isolation, and making friends. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 6 ways that I have noticed that I have met people and made friends. Now, if you've already subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you have not yet, please consider doing so and clicking the notification bell so that each time I upload a video about living in France, moving abroad, or finding the confidence and courage to live life on your terms, you will be notified. My name is Patricia Brooks, and I moved to France from the United States 4.5 years ago. And it's been an incredible experience filled with ups and downs. I have grown so much. And one of the biggest challenges I faced was loneliness in my first year and meeting people. I have introvert tendencies, and I talk about that in those other videos, so I'm not going to go there. But I thought it would be interesting to kind of look at the friends I have now and see how I actually met them. So the first way is through groups and activities. And this was something I was very intentional about in my first couple of years. I knew that I would have to put myself out there as I was the new person. So if I wanted to make friends, I would have to be more intentional. And so one of the ways was by going to events for on va sortir. It's similar to Meetup. And one of those events was a laughter yoga class. I had no clue what laughter yoga was, but I went, and it was an interesting and fun experience. And I decided to go back again and again and again. And that is how I got to be friends with the facilitator of laughter yoga. And we would, go out for coffee or tea afterwards. We went on a picnic before she had laughter yoga session, a couple of villages over from me, and that was lovely. And so we really connected. And later that my first year, she decided she was going to teach others to become laughter yoga facilitators. And she asked me if I wanted to. And so I signed up for her program. And, it was a 4-week program where I got to meet other people. I met Pierre, and we were friends, right? And that friendship lasted, where we were doing things together, lasted for 1.5 or 2 years. And then the pandemic hit, and there were no more laughter yoga sessions. And I was in a smaller village. She's still in Perpignan. And so we kind of drifted. And I think that is what happens when you have friends and you move away. It doesn't have to, but I think that often it does. Another activity that I had done, was intentional about, was going to this meditation center. And in fact, I had done this. I'd gone to one of their sessions when I was here on a scouting trip. So I kind of made inroads that way. Well, so I went to this meditation center for the first 3 or 4 months I was here. And I stopped going. But one thing that I did do was I left one of my books that I'd had translated into French. I left it in the meditation center's library. And somebody was looking at it, borrowed the book, read my bio on the back, and thought, oh, that sounds like an interesting person. She speaks English. I speak English. I want to meet this person. And so he reached out to me. This is my friend Jordi. And we went for coffee. I had my tea. And we are still friends to this day. So even though he's still in Perpignan and I am not. So it really just depends on the connection that you have with the person. One other activity that I did where I connected with somebody, at least for that first year, was my French language class. And I connected with this Russian guy who was learning French. He had just moved to France. So we had that in common. And after our 3-hour lessons, we would walk the streets of Perpignan. And sometimes we'd get a beer, sometimes we'd just walk and we'd talk. We were motivated. We would start out speaking French, but our brains were a little bit tired from the 3-hour class we'd had. So we quickly drifted back into English. But still, it was somebody to hang out with. So it was, that was a great activity to meet people. And you meet people from all over, because there was a woman from Germany, a woman from Spain, there was another American. So that's a great opportunity. So activities and events. The second way that I have met people is through dating apps. Now, this is not anything new, but I will say that I have been on more dates since I've been in France than in the whole 8 or 9 years I was divorced from my ex. So yes, I think I was more motivated, and put myself out on these apps. But that's an effective way to meet people. I've met some really interesting, nice guys, just not guys who are my guy. A third way that I have met people is through acquaintances. So when I was taking French language class, the teacher actually lives in my village. And one day I was on my morning walk and she's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? I need to introduce you to some people here so that you can get integrated." And so one person she introduced me to was this artist who lives here. And she introduced me to him and his then girlfriend, another American woman. And I went to one of his exhibitions, and that was great. We didn't become fast friends, but I knew them to see them when I saw them, and I would speak or wave. And over time, our friendship developed. And now we have dinner together from time to time. I go and pet sit. I go and cat sit for them when they need it. And it's really a nice relationship because we've connected and we've bonded. But had I not known my French teacher, then she wouldn't have put me in touch with them. And so I wouldn't have them as friends. So acquaintances is a great way to meet people. So another way that I've met people is through vendors at the Saturday market or at the local shops. I met a woman in the boulangerie who recognized I had an American accent. She said, "Oh, do you know so-and-so? They speak English. Would you like to meet them?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" So I gave her my number for her to give to them. And this couple reached out to me and we got together for coffee at their house, and they were telling me all about, them and their experience and other people they knew in the village. And she put me in touch with a woman who works at the tax office. I saw her at Vernissage 3 or 4 weeks ago, and she was introducing me around to people there. And so this person I didn't know who was working in a shop introduced me to somebody who opened up doors for me. Another woman who runs a chocolate stand at the Saturday market and who speaks English, and she and her partner speak English. We connected, and I think that the language was the thing. We have done a lot of different things together. We've gone to a natural hot spring together. We had Christmas dinner together. And through that, I met other people. I met a woman that I go hiking with from time to time, who then put me in touch with another woman. And so that is really how it happens. But, the connection was somebody who's running a store, right? So, and then the acquaintance angle again. So that is a big way, is, just getting to know people, even in general, can help you to open up some doors. Number 5 is neighbors. Now, I live in an apartment building, and my downstairs neighbors from a couple of years ago were this nice elderly couple. And just before they're going to move, we started to get to know each other, right? Marie Noël, was into meditation and mindfulness, and she had some verses written in French that she wanted to give to me as she was cleaning out her house for the move. And so I thought that was really nice because there was a connection. I was like, ooh, I wish I had met them sooner because they could be really good friends. Well, what wound up happening was they had this really big plant that they couldn't move. And so they asked me if I would take the plant. And I said, sure, why not? And it really made me feel good because it felt like I'd come full circle. When I moved from Richmond, I had a lot of plants I'd had for a long time. I had a snake plant that was about this high and I'd had for about 20 years. And so getting rid of that was a hard thing to do. So to adopt somebody else's plant who was moving felt really good. When they moved, another family moved in, and I've gotten to know them. They've been here about a year, and we are friends, and I water their plants when they're away. They water mine when I'm away. We've had a dinner together. We've had, drinks together. So I think that that's a relationship that is only going to get stronger as well. So neighbors are a good way to do that. I have a friend who lived in Perpignan for a while, and she told me that she always meets people when she moves to a new place. She's a little bit extroverted, so that helps, but And what she does is when she moves in, she invites the neighbors over for drinks or whatever. And so she gets to know them. They get to know her a little bit, and then, she's not a stranger anymore. And so I think that that's a really good thing to do if you are open to that. So neighbors is number 5. Number 6 is walking about. I go on a morning walk every day, and I think that that has helped the locals to see me and recognize that I'm not somebody who's here for a month or 2 months or 3 months, but that I am a part of the community. And as such, they have warmed up to me. My morning walk 3 days ago, there's this guy who has a garden and with vegetables, and he has given me cucumbers before. And 3 days ago, he wanted to give me some tomatoes, but I didn't have a bag, and neither did he. And so he said, next time come by with a bag, and if I'm here, I'm going to give you some tomatoes. And that felt really good. I actually saw him in the industrial center, and he was on foot. He was with his dog, and I was there to go to the organic store. And I asked him, well, do you need a ride? And he's like, no, my car is in the shop, but somebody's coming to pick me up. But just that connection made me feel like, oh yeah, I know him, and it was safe for me to give him a ride. He didn't need it, but it felt good to be able to offer that. So that's just walking about. And that's just an acquaintance, right? There is one person who is a dear friend of mine now, who just started out as an acquaintance. Sometimes it takes time. And I would see him every morning, or just about every morning, on my morning walk. And I'd smile at first, and then you speak a little bit. And then, over the course of a couple of years, our conversations got longer and longer. And I welcome that, because that was an opportunity for me to speak French. And now, we have gone on a road trip together, really gotten to know each other, respect each other. He's away visiting family in Mali. And since he's been away, we've WhatsApped, and he shared pictures of his family. I've spoken to his mom. So although she couldn't understand me, I couldn't understand her, we still had a little bit of a conversation. And so, but that was just because I was out and about walking around. So that is another way, is being out and about. And I will end here. I met somebody through an acquaintance that I met when I was walking around. He is a contractor, and he fixes houses. And so he asked me if I knew this woman who owned the house next to the one he was fixing up. And I said, no, I didn't. And this was maybe a year ago. Well, this year, about 6 weeks ago, I was on my morning walk, and she says, are you the American? And then she told me, oh yeah, the contractor told me about you. And yesterday on my morning walk, I ran into her again. She was going into her house. She's like, oh, do you have time for a coffee? So I went up, had coffee, got to see her beautiful house, her beautiful view. And we had a great conversation. We had a lot in common. And I could see that blossoming into a friendship as well. So there you go. How have you made friends when you've moved to a different city or state or even country? Comment below. Now, if you are considering making a move abroad but are a little bit hesitant because it's overwhelming and maybe you're a little bit afraid of how you're going to integrate, well, let's have a conversation. I offer a complimentary discovery session that is so helpful for you to get all the things that are swirling around in your mind out of your head, so you can hear yourself and process it and start to make some decisions. And I'm going to put a link to my calendar in the description should you be interested in that. Now, if you found this video helpful, insightful, fun, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.